All right, it is officially time for the first quilt of Quiltmas now that we've got our little wall hanging that I made yesterday. And so today I was going to be diving into the 10-inch pre-cut companion, but I'm going to touch base a little bit on why I switcherooed a little bit. We're still going with the 10-inch pre-cut. We're just not jumping into this book. So today's quilt is for my husband's roommate from college and his wife and their two sweet little boys. And so I wanted this one to feature a fabric that was cute, a little more wintry, not necessarily the red and green. And so I actually put it to my husband to figure out who this was going to be for. So I picked out a bunch of different layer cakes, put them in my online shopping cart, and said, which one do you think for which? And so he picked this one for these couple, and I think it's adorable. I really like this fabric, and let me show you what we're going to be working with and some of the changes that we made to get to this point. So 10-inch coming up. Let me show you what I got. So for this quilt, we picked out the On Dasher from Moda. Super cute as can be. It's got, I think the reindeers are really what sold me. Little polka dots, a whole bunch of cute little blender prints that aren't necessarily like obvious in your face Santa faces everywhere. He felt like they were a little more subdued, and so I really like it. I think this is such a cute print. So even though this print is super cute, the problem that came in was a lot of them were directional, and so I didn't want these letters to be upside down or sideways or backwards. And so I had to look at a couple different patterns. And the last one that I came up with in the book, it didn't excite me. Let me show you what it was so then you can see where I'm going with here. So I could have just as easily have done another building blocks quilt. This would be like the third or fourth one I did. But I was then looking at this slice of life quilt, which I could have dealt with directional easily, but it just didn't excite me. When you see some of the other quilts that I've picked out, you'll understand. And so I went on Missouri Star's website during their birthday bash and looked at some different patterns, especially digital ones that I could get in an instant and print them off. And so I narrowed it down to 3, and I let my husband choose. And people are shocked that I'm doing that. So they're his college friends, so I guess that means he's more right to choose. So let me show you what pattern he picked, and then we'll go from there. So for this being a Christmas quilt, we decided to go with summer season. And I think this will come in quite handy because I'll be able to move my half square triangles where I need them to be in order for my prints to be right side up. And so when I go to piece my half square triangles, which I know you all love to watch me do, and I do so much of it these days, I'll sew my seams in different directions. I'll split them up. So then I'll have some that'll be on one side of the diagonal, some that'll be on the other. And so this one's going to be a very soft, very more muted quilt compared to some of, like, obviously this bright and colorful beast. But I'm okay with that. And so for my background, I went with this. It's that Quilter's linen. It's actually, I'm pretty sure, the same one I used in the board and batten quilt. And so it's more of a creamy white versus a white, which, looking at my layer cake, is going to be the better fit. I thought about going with one of these coordinates in here, but then I didn't want it to completely like disappear or anything. So this is going to be the background. I'm forgetting my words right now. And then for my border, I was stuck on 2 different options. And yet again, I let him choose, him being my husband, and I'm torn. I don't know if I like his decision completely on this one. So with my outer border, what I'm going to do is wait till the quilt top is all the way done so that I can decide which one I feel fits better. So let me show you the 2 prints that are coordinates from this collection. Maybe you have a vote that may or may not get done at this point. So let me show you my 2 that I got so we can see what we're working with. So when it came to the outer border, I loved this one. I thought it was so cute, more of your traditional reindeer. But he went with the wild card of the red. So I was shocked But part of me is thinking that because I chose this creamy for the background, I think the red is gonna be what ends up tying it together. So I bought both of them. And everyone was shocked that I bought both and didn't just go with what I wanted. So, I mean, worst case, the same amount that it took to make the borders is gonna make 2 pillowcases. So whether I end up with 2 pillowcases for myself, 2 pillowcases for one of my friends, 2 pillowcases for who knows who, one of these will be the border and one of them will be the pillowcases. So it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So I think what I need to do first for my cutting prep is going to be turning this into 10-inch squares, because I think that's how it's gonna all sew together, is just 10-inch squares together and then making half square triangles. So that's really all we're gonna do. All my cutting is just gonna be making this and then probably cutting out my inner border. Let me see what this final picture looks like. Yes, so I am gonna have the little skinny, come on, focus. It is gonna have that inner border there, so I'm gonna cut that out. I'm not gonna cut my big border out yet. I don't have my binding yet either, but that's what we're gonna be looking at. So I'm gonna go cut some 10-inch squares and then we'll be ready to start making blocks tomorrow.